Your weekly dose of all things FSU, pistols and pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
The Seminole Headlines 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV begins right now with a man short.
Man, he's coming, folks. Don't turn off the feed yet. He's on his way. He's en route. He might even be in the parking lot, but
he'll be here.
Ira is late.
Ira's late. It's all right. It happens. And I couldn't reprogram because the commercials had already been locked in. I was like, man, it's too late. We're done. We're going live.
Yeah.
Here it goes. So I'll just start with what we normally would. I'm Jeff. That's Corey. Ira will be here in mere seconds.
Yeah.
Mere seconds. And in the interim, I will just say, yay, sausage.
I'll do the Ira part.
Don't
accost your meat manager. Don't tell them that no violence. We're not looking for that, but do what you have to do to get it into your stores all over the Southeast. It's growing exponentially pretty much every second of every day.
That's true.
Registeredmeats.com is where you can go and get it online.
You are on fire.
I'm crushing it. And in fact, I got some waiting for me at home, Jeff. That's no lie. Stephanie made some red beans and rice because wonderful wife that loves to cook. So red beans and rice, and it's got a bunch of jalapeno cheddar register sausage up in there. So I can't wait to get up in that. Red beans and rice.
Doubling down
when I get home.
Yeah. And by the way, that's the best of the register sausage.
Well, they're all great.
They are all great, but that is the best one.
There's no doubt. You
gotta have a little what for to you, and that's the one. So. Yes, and I will say this too. Speaking of which, I think.
Hey, you go for a second because apparently the door is locked.
All right,
so I'm going to go. You talk.
Yeah, I got it. What a show, everybody! What a show we have lined up for you. I like saying that, by the way. No, I double checked the last time when I went to Publix, which was over the weekend. Of course, getting set up for the Masters. Register sausage was everywhere. It was packed. We had no problems, so we are good to go. And just like that, everybody's good to go. Hello, good sir.
You changed the locks on me.
No, somebody locked it. Walking out. I should have said, no, the gang's not all here. We're good.
Well, we got to lock the doors, too, because we don't want all our fans coming in here during a live show. So we got to keep ourselves at a safe distance.
Anyhow, you're here, man. It's not our fault. You're good.
You didn't miss much. We talked about Rory. What do we got there?
Something to show you guys.
Oh, I can't wait, man.
Now I'm debating. I got locked out. I'm running late.
Well, I know. I feel like the running late isn't our fault.
It is not your fault.
It's 100% not our fault. I kind of don't get the attitude walking in here.
Yeah, that's kind of odd.
Yeah. What's the surprise?
So I'm not in the mood. I think I need to wait to get in the mood.
All right. Well, that's okay. We already did the register sausage pitch. I nailed it. I nailed it.
I heard it from outside the door that I couldn't get in.
Good.
I'll tell you this much. I heard the quote from Tony White yesterday, and I think they should just have Tony White quoted at all times about how physical the defense is going to be. I read Ira's story. I read the verbatim quote, and I just want to talk about that nonstop because I don't know if they're going to be any good at all. But, man, he has said it a million times over about how fast, how hard they'll play, and how much they want to be, how they're striving to be, anyhow, the most physical defense in the country. Buddy, on the heels of everything we saw fail last year, I can't hear that enough. I want to hear it every day. Every day.
Yeah, and all they can do right now is talk. At that event last night, I was talking to a couple of Headlines listeners and big FSU fans. And, listen, they're even the ones who want to have an open mind. You can't take any of this at face value because of what happened last season, even though these aren't the same people.
Yeah, I was going to say, but it is different a little bit. It's not Adam Fuller telling you that, but I understand the
sentiment.
Yes,
exactly.
I
get that. I wouldn't, and I'm careful when I
celebrate. That's the word, right? Reticence?
It is.
Yeah.
It's a good use of it, sir.
Crushed it.
I would just say this. I am careful every time I celebrate the fact that I like his quotes and the goals of being the most physical defense in the country and all that stuff. I say I have no idea whether or not it's going to work out and they're going to be any good. I just know that should be a goal of a defense. It ought to be a goal. That ought to be the goal of a defense. And I'm really excited because given they were soft as hell last year, it would be nice to know that even if they're not, like, from a talent standpoint, we don't know, we'll see. But from a talent standpoint defensively, even if they're not good enough to always execute the way you'd like, or they're not big enough, strong enough, fast enough, deep enough, whatever it might be, if you play hard on every play and you do aspire to be very physical, well, that's likable, man. They were not likable last year in addition to sucking.
Yeah, and when it comes to this particular subject, I don't know if I do myself a service or a disservice, but I've been on this kick. I'll go down rabbit holes late at night on YouTube. Not the rabbit holes most of you guys are on. I'm watching old Florida State football games.
It's interesting that you're still doing this. Like, this is...
It's weird. So, but you could go watch the whole game. They're condensed now. So I'm watching like the 98 Florida State-Virginia game. It's the game where Winky got hurt. Which weirdly, the announcers didn't even realize he had gotten hurt till after halftime. It was
that he
bizarre.
broke his neck.
Yeah, they're like, it looked like a stinger. We didn't. They're putting Outson in to throw this Hail Mary. I wonder maybe he just has a stronger arm. It's like, no, Florida State just lost its national championship with that guy walk off the field. But anyway, watching that defense play, they weren't imperfect. I mean, they gave up some yards, they gave up some points, but the ferocity with which they played at. Compared, and it's not fair to do it to this version of Florida State because football is different. But oh my gosh, they just played
hard,
unrelenting, and they were really good too. But they played so hard and fast and violent. And then you compare it, you juxtapose it with what we saw last year. It makes me madder. Well, the same thing with offense and pushing people out of the way and making plays.
Yeah, but I think again, we can know that they're not championship level. So they're not going to be what that team was. That team would have won the national title, would have beat Tennessee with a healthy Chris Winky. We know that. They only lost by 7 without him. So I would just say that's fine.
Peter Warrick got 1 touch in that game, by the way. I don't know if you remember that, the Fiesta Bowl.
Schemed up well.
I drove out there to see that Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah. I took an airplane. That was worse.
But yeah, you can go player for player and say they're not going to be as good. I got it. They don't have a bunch of All-Americans right now. But will they play as hard? Will they play fast? Will they care? Will they be physical? Because if they are, we know this league, you can win 6 games like that, 8 games like just playing hard, just playing fast, just being physical. They would have won a lot of games last year just playing that way.
And Tony White's anecdote I thought was pretty telling and good to hear from the scrimmage the other day when they were doing goal line, that basically he put them in a bad call. And he admitted that, and he admitted that to the team, but they still got to stop because he said a couple guys just decided, you know what? I'm going to get off this block, or I'm going to get off the ground and I'm going to make this play. And they did. And that's, so many times it felt like last year where it just, again, it goes back to Mickey Andrews, man. Back in the day, he would say, you got to want to keep them out of the end zone more than they want to get in the end zone. And a lot of times it comes down to that.
Didn't he always say, like, you choose to be blocked?
Oh, like, or it's a personal problem.
It's a personal problem.
If you're getting held, or if you're getting held, it's a personal problem.
Yeah. I always love that too, by the way.
And, so yeah, man, he's saying all the right things, 100%. It's like, and that's why I put the quote in the headline, like, you got to play your ass off. I mean, it's that is what desperately this fan base wants to see out of that football team, especially on the defense, but the team overall. But now we just got to wait 4 more months to see if it actually happens. But no, you're right. You can't hold it against him. What happened in the past? He wasn't here.
No, and like for example, so when I interviewed James Williams the other day. So I went before that interview. Now, I watched the biggest games that Nebraska played last year, but I just happened to because one was against Colorado, against Shedeur Sanders and Hunter. I wanted to see that, and they dominated that game. And then, of course, their defensive effort against Ohio State was the best defensive effort against Ohio State all year long, other than the Michigan game. And so you look at that, and you go, okay, look, how would Florida State's defense faced any sort of physicality or skill and handled that like we saw? They wouldn't have been able to handle much of anything. They didn't handle terrible teams' offenses, let alone teams with good players and teams that were committed to playing physically. And so I know that, he got a team. They weren't always perfect. They had a bad game against UCLA. They had moments, but they always played hard and they always played, physically and fast. So asking Williams about that, about like, hey, what was that like? Do you think this group is getting he was like, oh, well, first of all, they're going to play that way. Tony demands it. I just sense that they will. I mean, I don't know. Again, we don't know if they'll be good. I do think they're going to play really hard for that guy. And I'm excited about that because I think that may be a known again, a lot of people will be hesitant, but I think that's going to be a known commodity.
They'll be reticent. They'll be reticent.
That's right.
But, I mean, we saw it to a small sample size in the scrimmage. I mean, that was one of my takeaways was all those short screen passes and swing passes that looked like they had a chance to get something. There'd be somebody pursuing from behind to make the play. The defensive lineman wouldn't just stand there and be like, oh, the DB's got it. Like, they chased it down in March. In a spring. And a lot of these guys are veterans that aren't, that might feel they've already arrived as Division I college football players. It does seem like that's a mindset, at the very least. Again, don't know what the NFL talent is like on this team. Don't predict them to win the ACC. But I feel like they're going to be so much better defensively because you can try hard, like you were talking about. As long as you try hard, you can luck yourself into a few extra wins if you're trying as hard as you can. It's like swinging hard. eventually you might hit one and it'll go over the fence.
Run into one.
On the flip side of it, on the one hand, it's like, okay, Tony, you probably don't want to like build the expectations too high, but on the flip side, man, after what you saw last season, anything is going to be an improvement, right? I mean, we've said that with Gus Malzahn. Like, if this offense just gets to decent to pretty good, it's going to look like, oh my gosh, they've scored 3 touchdowns in this game.
We may all be guilty of overstating how much better they are just because they're average
compared to what it was last year. Yeah. And I think defensively the same thing. I mean, again, you just there were so many plays. I mean, I felt bad for the players sometimes. I don't know, probably shouldn't have felt bad for him, but I felt bad sometimes. The ISO Twitter tweets people would put out of a video of a guy loafing or a guy whatever. And it's like, yeah, man, we don't want our worst moments shared with the world, but there were a lot of them. And there were a lot of opportunities after every game to show guys just not hustling, not playing hard, not competing.
And you know what? I did share that sentiment at some point last year, and then I started realizing how much it angered old Florida State football players when they saw that. Like, it's one thing for fans that didn't play, bleed and sweat on that field to be embarrassed by somebody's play. But these guys that built the program up, watching that kind of effort sometimes and how angry it made them, I'm like, okay, there's some righteousness in this anger. That you are absolutely right, because whoever, Daryl Bush is mad, or Devin Bush is mad because I'm just going with the Bushes today.
All the Bushes.
All the great Bushes. And they, great Bushes in the 90s. And then for that level of player back then to watch that effort, I can understand where it would really rub people the wrong way. And you don't have to pull punches when you call people out on lack of effort anymore. I don't think you ever could. I don't think you ever had to apologize for that. I mean, you can blame the coaches for the effort not being there, but you can point out that the players aren't trying hard and always be mad about that. Fans can do that but
too.
my anger was always my anger. It's not an anger actually, but my viewpoint is I blame the coaches because why aren't you getting that out of the players? But the players share some of the blame too.
Yeah, but you wrote about this recently on Warchant.com. Like, you understand that clearly Mike realizes he failed to get that out of him.
Yes,
he
correct.
knows desperately that's what this spring's through line has been about trying to get guys to understand that last year can never happen again. His job's on the line, first of all, but secondly, it's like, we can never play football that way again, and I am not going to have any wiggle room on that front. This is going to be about either you're with us or you're against us. You got to go.
Yeah.
Like, I think this is about weeding. This is about install and weeding people out.
Mm-hmm.
That's what spring's been about, right?
And not caring about feelings.
Well, you can't.
I know, but he did. He even last year, he would complete after games, before games, in the middle of the week, he would talk about how hard they're trying. He believes in their response. He believes in the guys in that locker room. And I don't think he did, but he was just saying it, I think, to be, I don't know why he would have said that.
Well, I mean, I think he's a lot of coaches are like this. Jimbo's like this sometimes too. They do sometimes get this, they feel like they're responsible for these players and their futures, and I think Mike Norvell specifically feels that way. I think he really, certain players especially, but for all of them, he feels like it's a reflection on him if they don't have success. Well, if you admit to yourself that kid's not going to be a success, then it's almost like admitting your own failure.
Yeah.
So I think he was trying to will it out of them and hoping it would turn around. It just got worse and worse and worse. But yeah, I mean, I think, when you look at, I think is tomorrow the day the portal opens up?
The 16th.
Yeah, that's tomorrow.
16th.
I do think, you may see some guys leave Florida State at the end of the spring. That's not necessarily their choice. I mean, I do think that they're at the point,
right?
I think
that's the life we live in now.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're at the point where, you got to produce. Look, everybody's getting paid. Some are getting paid a ton of money.
Yes.
And it's a business now.
I have no problem with it. You've got to run people out, especially if you've identified. I thought early in camp there were 2 moments, but both of them involved Mike post-practice media availability where you guys were asking him questions. And he was clearly trying to send a desperate message to a couple of guys who he wanted to see the light bulb go on. Something like, get it. I'm challenging you. Without doing it, I'm begging you to play hard and to understand what I'm saying, like to get with the program. And I think that was a message. That was like, there ain't going to be any more of these. I'm not going to continue this. You've got an opportunity. He kept saying that. I'm looking for the edge from some guys. They have an opportunity here. Yeah, I think that opportunity was in that first week of pads. Like, all right, now listen, you understand this is what I want. Right. Some of those guys may have met that goal, and they'll be here going into the fall, and, we'll see a transformation. But to your point, Ira, I think tomorrow you'll find out that many others did not. and you got to get them out of your program. I'd rather lose by, not having enough depth, but every guy I do have plays really hard and cares, than to have a toxic locker room because there's a bunch of loafers who are rewarded by still being here.
Well, the worst thing that can happen in any workplace, and people can relate to this in their own workplaces, if you've got somebody that's not carrying their weight, it drags everybody else down because people are like, well, wait a minute, why isn't this guy doing what we're all doing? Why isn't he carrying her weight? And it brings everybody else down. So on a football team, 100%, that's the ultimate meritocracy in sports. Yeah, man, if you've got guys that are lazy or don't put in the great effort, it all it does is just diminish your team. So you can't try to save everybody. You need to figure out who's not with you and get rid of them. It's a complete, man, think about where we were. What year was it that Jimbo came out at A&M and said, oh, we guarantee all our scholarships for 4 or 5 years. And then everybody else was like, oh, we do it too. And everybody was racing to say, we guarantee. And it's just amazing. The empowerment movement went from that, which we thought was, okay, this is the right thing to do, to now man, fans are fine with kids getting cut if they don't perform.
So, and they're all, speaking of Jimbo, how crazy is it that he had that press conference about paying the recruiting class? In hindsight,
and how mad he was.
Well, just ripping Saban. Oh, greatest of all time, huh? Sure, whatever he said about Saban, but nobody really faulted him for it. There was nothing against the rules for paying recruits, and they got a great recruiting class. Probably because they paid him a lot of money, and Jimbo took offense to it. Well, Jimbo took offense to it as if, how dare you question?
He wanted credit beyond the dollars.
That they came there to play for him.
Yeah, he wanted to believe that it was about him.
But that wasn't that long ago in our lifetimes. Was that 5 years ago?
Right.
And now look at where we are, where a kid's holding out for $4 million. And I mean, nobody's going to blame. There might be a little pushback with that particular case, but nobody's going to blame whoever gets Justin Ott out of California, the running back. But he's going to get a lot of money. Right. Nobody's going to be, the coach isn't going to be like, how dare you? How dare you say that we paid Mr. Ott to come here? I mean, it's the reality of the world now.
It's completely understood. Seminole Headlines 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Hey, everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansfornoles.com. That is, again, loansfornoles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Noles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansfornoles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansfornoles.com.
Equal housing with NMLR 373031.
Bargain Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Bar Construction.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those dark leaks. Call 850-766-134. T-Bar Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Bar Construction.com.
CCC 1331204.
Do you own a small business? Let me guess. You started your business so you could get bogged down with payroll and bookkeeping, office tasks, and other paperwork, right? Probably not. I'm Craig Collins with Collins Income Tax Solutions. Allow me to help you get out from behind your desk and get back to doing what you love. For any of your payroll, bookkeeping, or other business services, give me a call today and allow me to take it off your plate. You can find my contact information online at collinsincometaxsolutionsllc.com.
Widden Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Widden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Widden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Widden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Widden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
There's nothing like relaxing in a hot tub after a long day. But if you don't have one, you're truly missing out. Hot tubs and spas have tremendous health benefits, besides just helping you relax. Like improving your sleep, they help with pain relief. They help to better your cardiovascular health and so much more. And this season is the perfect season to finally buy what you've been wishing for. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas has the hot tubs you need for the price you want. Come shop our huge 12,000 square foot showroom and save today. There's over 50 hot tubs in stock right now, so you won't have to wait weeks on end for that delivery to finally come to town. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come visit our huge showroom at 2473 Greer Road with over 50 hot tubs to choose from. You'll be glad you did.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
All right, do we get the surprise?
Yes, you do.
Are you over
I'm
it?
over it almost. We'll see. Maybe
Are you over? What are you?
I'm over it.
But it being
Well,
you
I was
being
already
late.
mad at myself
Oh, okay.
for something, then being late, then being stuck out there and hearing the Registers promo from outside 2 doors. It was the whole thing was.
But I hope most of the anger is directed towards you.
All right, so I got a. So you guys know Ken the Carver?
Of course.
Huge friend of the program.
By the way, it's Jaden Ott, not Justin Ott. I apologize to the Ott family. It's
All
my
the
bad.
odds.
All the odds.
Get it together.
So Ken sent me a text the other day. Remember, I don't know, last week I should have had Ben pull up the clip from last week when Corey named his next rock band Fire in the Butthole.
Yes.
Yeah.
You remember?
Yeah. Playing from 9:30 to 11.
Yes.
So
Great to be here tonight, everybody.
he not only does he do carvings,
He did Fire in the Butthole?
he does tumblers. He creates his own tumblers, and we have tumblers with the band logo for Fire in the Butthole.
This is the greatest tumbler ever made.
It's I think Corey's the lead singer. I think
Okay, better be.
you're doing the Pete Townsend. You're the lead guitar.
All right.
I'm on drums, and Tom Lang's in the house too with the Mets hat.
Oh, okay,
I love
nice,
it.
nice. Do we get how many do we get?
One for each of us and one for
Nice.
Tom. So
All
we got
right, man.
different
Give me
colors.
mine.
Are you yellow or are
Oh.
you teal?
I'm not teal.
I'll take the teal.
Yeah.
I'll take the teal.
All right, and then we've got I think we got a red.
I'll do red. Is there unless there's a
Red?
blue
Look
one?
at
I don't
that,
think.
sharp.
Yeah, that is sharp.
And then a silver.
Oh, silver fox. That's
I want
you.
the silver. Oh,
No, he gets silver.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
We'll
I'll
figure
do the red one.
Anyway,
Well, that's
Ken,
awesome. What a great.
First, I mean, this guy, it's like he's Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
Not only can he carve and all these other woodworking things, he made us the hats for Ireland.
He did. He did. Yeah.
And then these, I mean, literally, he sent me
wood carvings for everybody.
Let me hold on. I'm going to pull up the logo. He sent me the picture of the Fire in the Butthole band logo, and I was like, "That's amazing."
I don't
And
even
then
remember how we got to that.
I had to go back and watch. As what happens often, people bring up stuff from the show, and I have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah.
I went back and watched. You said something like Norvell was trying to get the fire in their butthole or something like that.
It's absurd.
And
I've never said that
said
before.
great band name.
Oh, yeah.
And that's how we got there. But this is the logo that he came up with. If you just see the I don't know if it shows up great.
Yeah, it does.
Imagine going to
Well, I
like
can say, yeah.
But anyway,
Word of the South or one of these
And
festivals.
Fire in the Butthole was
But
there?
we wouldn't be on the top line.
No.
We wouldn't be the
That's
big letters.
early in the day.
We'd be like the 9th line in, the 9th row.
And special
It'd
guests.
be
Fire in the
Collective
Butthole.
Soul,
Yeah.
Tears for Fears, Fire in the Butthole. It just all down the line with names like
and
that.
like our manager would be like, guys, I think we might want to talk about the name.
I don't know that this is going to work.
No,
guys.
that's
like, what
crazy.
if you actually write a song that people like? And now we have to promote Fire in the Butthole.
So now we have merch.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
Those things are
one
going to be
step
flying
ahead
off
of
the
game.
shelves. Thank you, Ken.
Thanks, Ken.
That's awesome. That's really
Thank
funny.
you, Ken. It is awesome. And I'm not going to give my family context. I'm just going to start
Just
drinking.
drink out of it, yeah.
So he sent me the message, and he was like, "Hey, I'm just double checking this. Still your address." And I was like, "Yeah, man, you don't have to do this, but okay,
Right,
sure."
right.
And then Kim usually picks up the packages. She's on a first name basis with the Amazon guy.
Here we go.
And so I texted her and I said, "Listen, if there's a package today, let me open it.
Well, that's exactly what your wife wants to hear.
Don't look at the
Don't look inside.
I will explain it once we look at it because I didn't want her to open it. That's why I have 4 tumblers that say fire in the butthole.
Hey, babe, I haven't told you about this, but me and the fellas started a band.
We started a band. We've been going to Clark's house every night to practice.
We practice a few times a week, and we're about ready to make
our
we
got a show at CP Friday night.
That is the kind of show that would be at CP.
Yeah, I know. Fire in the butthole, 9:30 to 11, playing all the hits.
$5 at the door.
Yeah.
Fire
you
in
get
the
to see
butthole.
us.
We'll be there Friday night. Let's get it on. Let's have a big weekend, everybody. Without further ado,
you waited long enough.
Somebody in the chat said Scott Carswell presents.
Oh man, I love it. I love it. All right. So that was worth the wait.
Yeah, it was. That's why I had to be in the right frame.
Right.
I don't know what.
Yeah.
Hey, let me ask the two of you, in total, and I have no idea, so I'm just kind of curious where your heads are at. In total, how many guys leave starting tomorrow?
Yeah, that's a great question, man.
So we counting Trevor Jackson?
So we already got 2. Early
early Trevor Jackson.
Early. He announced his name early.
There it is.
I'll say 6 to 7. I'm not going to go more than.
So you set the over at. I'd set it at 5.5. You set it at 6.5.
6.5. I like the number.
You think 5.5?
I think 6 was going to be my guess.
So you're taking the over on the 5.5. A little juice to the over.
Yeah, but I think a 5 could be in play. That's what I say. You want action on both sides, guys.
Let me ask you this: will any of them be players that Florida State fans will be disappointed to hear about them leaving?
I would bet at least 1 or 2.
I think that's accurate.
Yeah, I would bet one or 2. But and again, it's scales of how much you care.
Right. When you go 2 and 10,
there's nobody that's how crushed.
Yeah.
How crushed is anybody going to be?
Yeah. I'm curious though. I mean, I'm wondering who the name would be that Florida State fans would be like, what? There's some guys that people are suspicious are probably going to enter or may need to enter, have been asked to enter. And then there are those that would catch you kind of, out of left field where you go, oh man, I didn't see that coming.
I think a linebacker could go because all of a sudden they have a lot. You know what I mean? Like
one of these running backs has got to go.
Well, right? I would think that a receiver, maybe, obviously an offensive lineman's already in. I think those are the possibilities. Maybe even a DB if they don't think they're going to play a lot. But I none of those DBs at corner anyway have proven themselves enough to think that they can go get a better gig somewhere else. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, you think that, but then you also sometimes and sometimes there's more value if you haven't proven you can't play. If you were a big time recruit a year ago, look, in Florida State when they went and got Earl Little, and now he may turn out to be a really good player,
right?
But the excitement about Earl Little was based on what he did in high school, not what he did during 2 years at Alabama. And so, as long as guys are still young in their career, there's still a lot of.
But I mean, if you think like Ricky Knight, who I like, and I hope he stays because but I'm saying like he wasn't a big time recruit coming out of high school. And he hasn't accomplished any. Like, where would he go that would be better than Florida State? Right. Would be and that goes for most of those guys. There aren't a lot of highly recruited guys on the team.
The DB room's got a lot of force.
Well, Charles Lester is one. Yeah, you're right. Kai Bates.
I mean, I'm not throwing names out there because we think they're going.
Right.
But there are some guys that are marketable.
I just wonder. I wonder where they would be have firm footing that they would have a better chance there than here.
And I think in that room though, you've got a lot of guys that are going to play. So you do wonder. Receiver, especially, you went out and got 2 big time transfers. There's been so much hype on Javon Boggs.
We also know that Gus doesn't rotate a ton of guys.
Right. So, that's a possibility. Or, players may just have not loved it, wanted to give it a shot and not loved it, or vice versa. They may not be meeting the expectations of these new coaches.
Well, that's the other big part of it is we always think of it now from the players' vantage point, like where are they going to go? Can they get money elsewhere? They have the freedom to be able to do so and all of that. People lament the constant moving around. But I would think when you've brought in 2 brand new coordinators and you're running 2 new schemes, that it's very possible that those guys have to have really honest conversations in the next 24 hours about it's not going to work for you here. Yeah. This doesn't fit. Your skill set doesn't work. Hey, not saying you can't play college football, but you're better suited for this or you're better suited for another scheme. I don't really see you working in this year. If you're a junior,
I'm going to try to take the silver lining approach to this because I do lament it. I think the worst, it's not the NIL, it's the unlimited transfers, which is ruining the sport. Yeah. But taking the silver lining approach, you're not stuck with a guy that can't play anymore. You whiffed on a kid 2 years ago. You thought he was going to be good. He isn't. He's not taking a roster spot anymore. You can push him along. That's a good thing for your program. It's not good that the good players can leave too, but at least you can, without reservation or guilt, push a kid out the door if he's not good enough.
Yes, you can. And depending on the relationship you have with him, you can find a landing spot for him. But also, if you don't love the kid and he's been a problem,
you can land in a swamp.
Yeah, you can get the hell up out of here. The problem is, rightfully, Florida State fans will say, well, there's another misevaluation. And that's if you have too many of those kinds of interactions. But I mean, we'll see. I don't know what the answer is. I just was curious where your head was at, what that number might look like.
So the bigger question is, how many are they bringing in? Ira, how many are they bringing in? What's your over under there?
I don't think a lot.
Yeah, but what does that mean? How many are they bringing in? What's your set it? Come on,
4.5. I was going to say 3.5.
It's a pretty good number, Ira. I like that.
So you think they could go get 5 more guys?
I mean, if they lose 7,
yeah,
I mean, it frees it up because you've got some of those guys. If they leave, we're getting they had deals.
And what's crazy, like my man Jay Knott, don't ever call him Justin.
Mm-mm.
I mean, he's a big deal. He wasn't good last year because he was hurt, but the year before he ran for 1,400 yards. He's probably the number 1 running back on the board. He just came out. I feel like it used to be the spring was the window of like there would be 1 or 2 big time guys that came out. Like
last year, it was supposed to be chaos, but then it didn't happen.
Never happened.
And now they're saying again, we'll see.
I mean, but like the fact that Ott and the kid from Tennessee are already out there, those are 2 pretty big names.
I would look at those as 2 different things. The Nico Harris thing is that his management, his father.
It's not his last name.
I'm not
Harris.
saying it.
There's no way you're going to pronounce it.
Say Nico Harris.
You're thinking of the Mavs GM, right?
Yeah. That's right. That's right. Yeah. He's been in the crosshairs lately.
Both of the Nikos. Not a great time for Nikos.
Imalavia?
Sure.
Whatever.
You nailed it. You nailed it.
Yeah, that guy.
Nailed it.
That was a situation where his dad and everybody else screwed that all up from everything you can read. That's a different deal. I think the odd thing is, obviously, I play at Cal. This sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, we're off. We lost to Florida State last year.
I think that 4 days ago, Justin Wilcox was on. Yeah, that's right. That's why he could have left then. He was on one of the ACC PM show. Is that what it's called?
The one with Packer?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he was talking about how excited he was. No, he was excited about how Wilcox was on there. Isn't that the coach's name at Cal?
So, yeah.
It could be the lacrosse coach too. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he was talking about how excited he was that Ott was coming back and it was going to be a big year for him. That was 4 days ago. Yeah. And now he's in the portal. My point being, I do think there's a chance there could be all these guys are free agents and you can entice people to come join your program. I don't think it'll be as quiet as it was last year.
Well, and the reason they do think it's going to be more chaotic than it wasn't last year. They're trying to sell it again. The reason why would be because if the House settlement goes into effect and now you have these caps, like this is seen as the last big hurrah
where you don't have to answer
unlimited free agency.
And for 1 year, this actually, if it's chaotic and it's a lot of choices, it really works out for Florida State because you had 2 sides of the ball coming in completely blind, having no choice of who was on their team, who was on their roster. Now Malzahn and White can go get guys that fit after watching what they have for a full month, can go get guys that they think could fit maybe better than the guys that they've been coaching for the last month, if need be.
The problem, obviously, is if you don't have them for spring, that's not great. But I will say that's, again, one of the reasons I do like about a Malzahn type offense where it's a lot easier to learn.
Pick it up pretty quick.
Because that's in this age of football, man, I just think that's got to be the essential approach. The days of having these intricate offenses where you've got to be in a system for 2 years to understand it, to me, just don't make any sense anymore.
I don't think they're going to spend a lot of money on a running back, Corey. I mean, I know.
No, I wasn't saying that they would go after Ott. They could use a running back, I think we all agree on, but they've got other needs.
And they have a stud coming in.
Yeah.
And I don't
and
think
as we talked before the show, Ira, you weren't here, but we talked before the show that Castellanos might be their feature back. Like, legitimately. Mm-hmm. Like, he might be there.
Well, he's certainly going to run a lot.
He's one of their feature runners.
Yeah.
So I don't know that you need to go spend on Ott.
I just spend on offensive defensive line. You're going to overspend in the spring anyhow. It's the worst. I wish,
Hey, it's not our money.
You think we'll have a Fire in the Butthole reunion tour, a reunion show?
Are we breaking up already?
What are you talking about?
I just feel like
there's already animosity.
I feel like the Fire in the Butthole is like an 80s band name. I feel like the first show we need to do is a reunion show.
So
even though we actually
you missed the first go around of Fire in the Butthole in 85,
we're getting the band.
Well, we were at Live Aid. We were at the Philadelphia Live Aid,
very
right?
early.
Yeah, we're early in the day.
Long before you two.
While they were setting up, setting up the seats. Fire in the buttholes out there doing a sound check.
About 46 people that day.
Yeah, well, they were all working.
Yeah,
Bowie sat in.
I'll never forget it. I'll never forget. What a moment.
It was
fun in the butthole to have Bowie.
Yeah, that was incredible.
Harmonizing with Corey. Ira and I were just staring at each other. We couldn't believe it. Next thing I knew, Tracy Chapman was standing on the edge.
Tracy Chapman, yep. Love her too.
What's happening, man? Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio. Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Your local news now.
Lori Page, who has been missing since
When
June
you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, Bird Dogs, Skims, or Seminole Headlines, sure, you think about things like product quality, a cool brand, good marketing. But an overlooked secret is the businesses behind the business, making buying and selling simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret, with Shop Pay, that boosts conversions up to 50%. That means fewer abandoned carts and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform had better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/warchant, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/warchant to upgrade your selling today. That's shopify.com/warchant.
Blend of clouds and sun this afternoon with a high of 84. Northwesterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Clear skies tonight, lows level off around 50. Tomorrow, daytime highs approaching 77. Ample sunshine and dry Thursday and Friday with highs in the low 80s. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 76.
The best happy hour in the city is at Café de Martín and El Bar. All day, every day, you can find great deals at Café de Martín while enjoying the best outdoor seating Tallahassee has to offer. Sip away on 2-for-1 house wines, chilcanos, and margaritas all day long, Monday through Thursday. Plus 2-for-1 pisco sours and margaritas on Fridays and Saturdays, and 2-for-1 mimosas for Sunday brunch. Come join us at Café de Martín, where every hour is happy hour, in the Esposito Shopping Center on Capitol Circle Northeast.
Sarah here with Seminole Auto Glass. Hey, Greg.
Hey, what's up?
It's turkey season. Have you hit one yet?
A turkey? No.
Good for you, because we've seen more turkey suicides than anything lately.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we had a pretty foul morning.
Oh.
But our customer just went to Seminole Auto Glass and uploaded their insurance card. We got them back on the road with feathers flying in no time. Hey, Greg, which side of a turkey has more feathers? The outside.
Oh.
Better call Seminole.
Seminole Auto Glass. Call 850-539-4527.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
By the way, Ira, you should know that today, so the bonus hour that comes right after this show ends, I've already done it. I do it before I come in a lot of times. And it's in that hour at the end that I do probables. And I just want you to know I'm well aware.
Charlie Morton
is 0-3 with an 8.78.
I mean, I
want to keep a
today's Charlie Morton day.
Today is Morton. He goes today for the O's. Big matchup.
All right, man.
I'm just letting you know I'm on top of it. I got.
He's consistently terrible. That's the thing that's impressive. It
Give
wasn't
him
like
time, man. He's working himself into it.
It wasn't like there was 1 2-inning, 7-inning out, 7-run outburst.
Yeah.
No, it's consistently terrible.
He's going to give you a chance. He's going to give you a chance. He'll leave after 5. You're going to be down 4-1.
We didn't. If the Orioles didn't learn when they signed Kimbrel last year, when he was 56 years old, they went back to the same well.
Yeah.
Also, Ken actually had a card in here that I totally missed when I was looking at the tumblers. Gentlemen, as always, thank you for always bringing your A game to all that you do. He's all the best, Ken. This was before he realized I showed up late today. It was not really my A game.
No,
so maybe I should lose the
C- game. Yeah, I'll take both of them. I'll take both of them.
You'll take the card as well.
Yeah. I'll give that card. Yep.
And actually, 2 of the tumblers have Seminole Headlines on the back. 2 of them have Jeff Cameron show on the back.
This guy thinks of everything.
Yeah.
Sweet.
One in a million.
Yeah,
why don't we have more listeners and viewers like Kent?
That's the
lesson. That's the lesson here.
The story isn't that Ken is just an incredible
no,
person.
we need more people like him.
Everybody else sucks.
I'd like him to be an inspiration to others.
In the chat, by the way,
send us stuff.
By the way, in the chat, they're going through song titles for Fire in the Butthole. And I don't know how many of them are readable.
Track 4 is Taco Bell Blues.
Well, that was our hit. That was our big hit.
Everybody
remembers that. Yeah, that's what we close with.
I remember we were arguing with the producers at the time that should be track 1. It ended up being track 4.
I thought it was a little
bringing it back down.
I thought it was a little too on the nose to start off with that. I wanted to kind of leak into it, ease right into the Taco Bell Blues.
Into that. Hey, are they healthy? How healthy is this football team?
I think they're getting healthier.
I think so.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I definitely think in the good news
which is important now that spring is over.
I mean, they have one more big day.
Yeah, well, they've got of these last 3 practices. Saturday will be, or the last day, Saturday will be one more scrimmage.
Yeah, that's the big day.
And then there's one more day that's like a full practice, and then one day it's just in helmets. I don't know what the deal is there, but I think it sounded like some of the offensive linemen came back late last week, which was huge. That's really the biggest position where, you just wanted to see some of these guys. But Gus Malzahn spoke at that event last night also. And he did say they felt like they've hit on all their transfer offensive linemen, even though they haven't been full participants this spring. They're based on what they've saw in film, based on what they've seen on them so far. They feel like they hit on all the portal guys. And if they did, you're in pretty good shape with that offensive line because you brought in 4 guys, I think. And then, you also had some other guys coming back.
Well, and that spoke to the philosophy that they had in the portal this go around, having learned their lesson, sadly, from the year prior. I mean, go get guys that have kicked ass at this level. Like you've seen them do it. All of the linemen they brought in,
or at least been decent,
or at least been pretty good. Right. Yeah. You had a couple of second team, all conference guys and all that other stuff. So, I mean, look, man, you got guys that have started in the SEC and the ACC that you brought in that were good players. They were plus players for their teams. Right. So unless they had a catastrophic injury and they were going to miss significant time, I feel like even without much participation in spring, you hit on those guys because you've seen them do it. You've seen, I mean, so I think that philosophy was key, and there's a reason that you would feel confident. I think they would have loved to have had him to get him up to speed in terms of how fast they want to run. But other than that, I get it. Did Gus share anything else? Because we focused pretty much this hour on Tony.
He was pretty good about Castellanos. I thought he was more throaty in his endorsement.
Full throaty
in his endorsement of Castellanos last night than maybe he has been with us a little bit.
Did he resent being there?
No, it's funny. One of the first responses in the YouTube was like, Gus is 100% never doing this again. But he actually seemed fine.
Well, it's a booster event. I think you kind of have to be.
He's been doing that. He's been doing booster events for a long time.
But I think people he gives off the aura sometimes of, maybe he's got better things to do.
A little bit.
But no, he talked about Castellanos.
Get back to this throatiness.
He said that he said it was the first call they made when he got here was to Tommy Castellanos. That he just feels like he's a perfect fit. Kind of went back a little bit to when he signed him out at UCF. He said, we played him in the championship game, in the conference championship game as a freshman, because that's what we thought of him. He goes, but he wanted to start. He wanted to know he could start somewhere, and they had a quarterback coming back, so it didn't look like it was going to happen. So that's why he went to Boston College. But clearly no ill will, and then they've all been saying that, but he was very high on him and just said that, he's a perfect fit. And he compared him to Nick Marshall athletically, who obviously was the quarterback at Auburn when they played FSU in the national championship game. So no, I think it was good to hear him talk like that, because I don't know that he's been that full throaty in our meetings with him.
Yeah, he hasn't. Well, he hasn't criticized him, but he hasn't been over the top and
no. And I think he's been really balanced. I mean, I think it's, he's praised all of the quarterbacks that he's played. And I also think it's probably been a tough spring to get a real assessment of just how good he can be, because it's all install right now. It was all just trying to get the basics of this offense down, the tempo they want to run, but they were missing receivers for a stretch there. They're missing these offensive linemen for a stretch. How much, look, the scrimmage we saw obviously was pretty well dominated by the defense that day for the most part. And that was, again, because you're missing your 2 tackles, you're missing a guard, you're missing your 3 best receivers. I don't know how you could get a great assessment of what this offense would be until you have all those folks back. I'm not surprised that he hadn't just gone on and on about how great Castellanos has been. I don't know how he could be.
And, when Norvell talked about the scrimmage they did Friday, which was kind of a limited scrimmage, and they did a lot of goal line, the defense won, but he said that, the quarterbacks weren't live. But the offense did pretty well considering. So to me, that's a good sign. Like, the offense had success. It was close. They go to 10, and the offense was probably had 7 or 8 or 9. If for them to have success without Castellanos or the other quarterbacks running, that's a good sign.
It's also like, I feel like in that offense inside the 7-yard line, if you don't allow your quarterbacks to go run, especially those quarterbacks, it's like playing with one hand tied behind your back. Like, that's going to be a big weapon. I mean, one of the touchdowns they had in the scrimmage that we saw, it wasn't a well-blocked play. It wasn't a well-designed play. That linebacker couldn't run with that quarterback, and it's a touchdown. I mean, I feel like that's going to happen a good bit with this team. So that's good. Like, you can, again, I just think the scheme itself is going to be so much more conducive to, like yards and points than last year. It's not going to be overwhelming. It's not going to be an incredible offense, but it will move the ball and score points at a rate that would have floored us last year. Like, even like we talked about, 3.5 touchdowns a game.
Well, remember, we watched a lot of other college football teams play last year. And
they would go up and down the field.
They got first downs.
Yeah.
Occasional touchdowns.
Yeah.
Something to behold. When
their kickers got to kick field goals.
Flip around going to game. I'm like, there's a touchdown.
Yeah. He's lining up for a 31-yard field goal.
How do they do that?
What are they doing down there?
Just imagine, like, 70 years from now, there's going to be historians going back through, like, statistics and, like, look at this Florida State football team in 2020. What in the world happened to them?
Yeah. 2023, they went undefeated. 2025, 2025, they won the national championship.
Right.
2023, they went 13-0. What happened in 2024? What in the world happened there?
You ever do that, though? Like, if you go down, speaking of rabbit holes, where you'll go back and look at something from 83 or 88, maybe even, I was in high school in 88. I'm like, I don't remember them being that bad. What happened? Not about Florida State, just somebody in general. And you'll look at it and you go, oh, that's right. That's the year their coach had a heart attack. They elevated the assistant. He was in over his head.
It's the Duke basketball.
They lost 5 straight. They lost by 30 points in the whole. Yeah, you're like, oh, that's right. I forgot all about that. People are gonna be like, what happened?
It will
here?
be like the Duke basketball year.
Yeah, out of nowhere, they're like they had a losing record, didn't even make the NIT. They're like, what? Well, Krzyzewski's back hurt. T. Gaudet was promoted. They stopped playing for him, and they lost every game except the one to Florida State.
It's like rolling out there Roy the one year. Just didn't even make it to the postseason.
I don't know. Yeah, but a lot of times Roy not only made it to the postseason, he rolled out a national championship trophy.
But that year he was healthy and there. Rolled it out. They didn't even make the tournament.
Right. It's fair.
That's a toughie.
So maybe Norvell is like football's version of Roy Williams. You would take that in a heartbeat.
He doesn't have the championships.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If he turned into that, he could be rolling out there, Mike. Occasionally have a bad year, but once a decade, twice a decade, he's going to compete and win a national championship.
You're just not allowed to roll it out there and go 2-10. Just like at Carolina, you're not allowed to roll it out there and miss the tournament.
It's crazy when you think about it. Again, it goes back to me watching those stupid YouTube games. They're not stupid. I just don't know why I do it. 2-10 is just such an utter embarrassment and such a failure of epic proportions. The farther away I get from it, it's like the angrier I get about it.
I was texting.
It doesn't make sense, right? But in the moment, I was just kind of trying to contextualize it because that's what our jobs were. But as I get away from it, there's no way to contextualize it. It's utter insanity.
Tom laughs at me. I get mad doing the show. I get halfway into a talking point. I'll be like, son of a bitch. Yeah, like, how in the hell did that happen?
I was texting D-Rob the other day because I said, listen, the thing that's weird to me about this situation with this offense is people don't want to hear anything really positive about just this team right now. They don't want to buy in at all, which I get it. It's literally an entire different offense. There might be like 2 or 3 guys that are key players on this offense this year that were even here a year ago. I mean, the whole offensive line is probably going to be different. New quarterback, new receivers, new tight ends. I mean, like, it's like changing the engine in your car and just assuming it's going to be the same car because it's got the same frame.
People are still very
well. In his point, and D-Rob's like, he goes, man, you can't overestimate how damaging 2-10 is to people's psyche. Like, there's just no.
I think that's accurate.
Here,
how do you come back from that?
I'm going to say 2 weeks later, Ford Theater probably had a pretty good play going.
Oh my gosh.
Probably had a pretty good play going.
But who went?
But who wants to go see that? Because it's still in their head.
No,
you don't understand.
That night.
The president won't be there. John Wilkes Booth just burned to death. He's dead. It's a great show.
We have Bleach.
I don't want to go in there. It's ruined for me.
The oddity is I ran into Corey Clark at the Ford Theater when we were in D.C.
Yeah,
that was bizarre.
That was crazy.
We ran into each other randomly. Yes.
That was a cool. You should do that sometime. Go to Ford Theater.
It was cool.
I've walked by it.
Have you also recognized, as we did, that, man, that's a long way to jump?
It is. Yeah, you understand why he broke his leg.
Broke your leg, dude. That's a long way to jump. You should have thought that one through. I know he was trying to grab the drapery and all that, but I mean, come on, that's a long way to jump.
I feel like Secret Service would have been a good idea back then. Dude just walks in, shoots him. Nobody's even there to do anything. Just, he's dead. Looks like he might be dead. How's the play finish?
We got a Tavella Thursday at the golf tournament.
We do.
That's exciting.
What hole? Do you know what hole?
Maurice is excited. I'm excited. Everybody, listen, it's going to be a good day for a lot of the people that we have wonderful relationships with. This is true. A lot of great sponsors, Tavello being one of them. We got people know I also like to drink Palomas, which is tequila and grapefruit juice.
You know that.
And the Califino tequila people are going to be there as well.
Nice.
So we got stations. Eat a little something before you get to the golf course, everybody.
Whatever you just said isn't a part of headlines. Tavello is a part of headlines, so don't detour.
He's just sharing the love.
I'm sharing the love for the tournament on Thursday. We got so many great people. Sponsorships from Seminole Headlines. Sponsorship for the Jeff Cameron Show. There are sponsors from Wake Up Word. Everybody's there. It's all the love, Corey.
Yeah, but Tavello most of all.
If you haven't been up to Thomasville yet, to go get some Tavello, and again, it's in it's not just in the brewery that they have there in Tavello, the tap room there. You get a lot of the restaurants now in Thomasville have it.
They know what time it is.
You're working down here, but if you haven't had it, and you're going to be at the golf tournament. Stop by. Well, you don't have a choice.
Yeah, if you're in the golf tournament, you're going to see them.
You're going to see Maurice.
You're going to drink some Tavello.
And get Maurice to tell you the story about how they got married in an FSU football game. He and Lynn.
Yeah. And Maurice and Lynn are both great people, and Maurice is funny. So get him going.
Yeah.
Maybe if he's had a few.
Oh, yeah.
Get him rolling a little bit.
I think he's always dialed up to at least a 10.5.
Yeah, he's usually on it.
Yeah.
What do you Gordo Smash is going to be there?
Gordo Smashes will be there. They'll be.
They're my problem. They're the problem.
They send you down the road.
They're the problem.
Yeah. Is that what made you fall down the hill?
No, that was just clumsiness.
You weren't even drunk yet. You hadn't even had a drop yet. That was the whole two.
Well, it was a little slippery there.
It was slippery. The weather was
slippery.
Little slippery.
But
lawsuit slippery. Ira says lawsuit
slippery. They were a problem. But then because we have interviews that night.
We do, and a baseball game.
Yeah, but we've got guys that are younger that maybe should handle that situation.
You think we shouldn't go to the interviews?
I don't think you need to.
Norvell gets nervous if we're not in the right row.
It might be. We'll see what kind of shape we're in.
I heard him say that to you, Ira. I heard him say that to you. He's like, you're normally right here in the second row, whatever he said. But I think he's got to grow up a little bit too. We got to get. You know what? Let him deal with Matt Lasser.
Yeah, there's Lasser will be out there too. There is a baseball game that night too. By the way, good weekend for the Noles.
We haven't touched on it yet.
We haven't, we'll get there. But so they play Virginia Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So there's a baseball game that night too with Jamie Arnold pitching. It's a pretty big one.
You know, I think Ira's going to let Corey handle that baseball game.
I might handle the baseball game. I could be drunk at a baseball game.
Yeah, people won't know. You'll be up in the box. Nobody will know.
I'm just going to be happy to leave the golf course. Theoretically, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself.
Yeah.
Without a rib injury. That'll be
that'd be 1 for 1. You'd be on a 1-year streak.
That was the fallout from the fall. Was that you actually hurt yourself?
It was like, I mean, man,
excruciating for like a week.
Yeah, ribs stuck, man. There's nothing you can do about them either. They hurt.
Hour number 2, headliner questions coming your way. Hang in there.
Take a sip and have a trip with Tallulah's famous THC slushies. Lots of fun flavors to choose from, refreshingly delicious, and the perfect way to relax. Stop by Tallulah's and try the all-new sugar-free Jolly Rancher slushie today and find out why everyone is going mad for honey. A rare, intriguing, deep red honey harvested from the mountains of Nepal. Mad Honey is the latest trend, creating quite the buzz. Literally. Try Mad Honey today, only available at a Tallulah store near you.
This announcement is brought to you by Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey.
If you're driving right now, you should know there's an 80% chance that the cars all around you don't carry any bodily injury insurance. Most people don't realize it, but in Florida, all the law requires is that drivers carry property damage insurance. This means that the texting teen drifting over into your lane or the drag racer on your rear bumper have no way of compensating you or your loved ones when they cause a crash. And this should scare the hell out of you. Fortunately, there's an easy way to protect your family from this, and it's called uninsured motorist coverage. It's an absolute must, but a lot of insurance companies are convincing folks to drop it just to save a few dollars. Take it from the personal injury experts. Don't. At Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey, we've recovered millions of dollars in uninsured motorist coverage in crashes where our clients would have otherwise received nothing. So please, call your agent right now and make sure you have uninsured motorist coverage on your policy. We hope you'll never need it, but we'll be here for you if you ever do. Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey. Don't settle for less.
The IRS is ramping up collection, and if you owe back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, listen carefully. Before it's too late, check your eligibility for the Fresh Start program still offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax problems. Call our special hotline number now and find out in minutes if you qualify for these life-changing debt reduction programs. Business or personal, if you're in a payment plan with no end in sight, have unfiled tax returns, under audit, have a wage or bank levy, or finally just want to know your options, call the experts at Republic Tax Relief and stop collections immediately. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau with a 5-star rating from Yelp, this veteran-owned company has the fight you need to take on the IRS. Don't go at it alone. Call the hotline number now, 800-218-5573. That's 800-218-5573. Find out if you qualify today. Call 800-218-5573 or go to republictaxrelief.com.
Many orthodontists in Tallahassee can straighten a smile, but at Burt's Orthodontics, they're dedicated to providing the finest care possible. The experienced and friendly staff is trained in all of the latest techniques. So whether you need standard treatment like braces or Invisalign, or you have a more complicated case requiring extra attention, Burt's Orthodontics is here for you. Set up your free consultation today by visiting Burt'sOrthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, or call 850-877-1692. At Burt's Orthodontics, they create beautiful smiles that last a lifetime.
WBFP, Gresham, Tallahassee. This is Real Talk 93.3. Listening to Seminole Headlines with Ira, Corey, and Jeff. Stay tuned for more headlines coming up next. Your sports action update on Real Talk 93.3 with all the latest odds from Vegas.
Orlando Magic hosting the Atlanta Hawks today at the Kia Center. Orlando laying 5 with a total of 218.5 for the NBA play-in tournament. It's a 7-8 matchup of the Eastern Conference. The winner moves on to get second-seeded Boston, the defending champions, in the first round. Ryan Pepio pitching for the Rays today, $1.25 favorite against Walker Buehler of the Red Sox at Steinbrenner Field, 8.5 over the total. Spencer Schwalbenbach on the mound with the Braves, $1.30 favorite against Kevin Gausman of the Blue Jays, plus 110, 8 under at Rogers Center. It's Scotty Scheffler, plus 360 to win the RBC Heritage at Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. $250 bonus and you open up a G-Bank Visa signature card. Visa.com/G-Bank. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
Welcome to Staples.
Hi, I hear Staples prints it all.
Oh, you bet. Posters, banners.
Can you print it all for Mother's Day?
Oh, of course. Photo gifts like canvas prints, photo puzzles.
Can you print it all for graduation?
Sure can. Custom cards and invites.
Can you print a huge banner with the grad's picture?
Oh, definitely.
Even an embarrassing baby picture?
Oh, those are the best kind.
I know, right?
Print it all for moms and grads at Staples. And right now, get 40% off custom cards, invites, and photo gifts. N75 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
There ain't no school, just getting comfortable. There ain't no school, from prison to the test. There ain't no heating and air conditioning. Keeping you comfortable is what Barry does.
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 1816186.
There's no heating and air conditioning.
The best happy hour in the city is at Café de Martín and El Bar. All day, every day, you can find great deals at Café de Martín while enjoying the best outdoor seating Tallahassee has to offer. Sip away on 2-for-1 house wines, chilcanos, and margaritas all day long, Monday through Thursday. Plus 2-for-1 pisco sours and margaritas on Fridays and Saturdays, and 2-for-1 mimosas for Sunday brunch. Come join us at Café de Martín, where every hour is happy hour, in the Esposito Shopping Center on Capitol Circle Northeast.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
It's time for Seminole Headlines, featuring Warchant.com's Jeff Cameron, managing editor Ira Schofel, and senior writer Corey Clark. Your weekly dose of all things FSU, pistols, and pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
Hour number 2, headliner questions coming your way in just a second. I'm Jeff. That is Ira and Corey. You guys are here with us, and we appreciate you very much. If you're listening on 93.3, driving about town, thank you for that. And if you're watching on Warchant TV on the YouTube channel there in the chat, appreciate you guys as well. Appreciate Dr. Birch Orthodontics, who I ran into, her and her husband, at Publix the other day.
Oh, there you go.
What was she getting? What was in her cart?
I didn't see. Alan was pushing the cart. I thought it would be a pushy of me to move her out of the way to look in their cart, but I wanted to.
Yeah, well, good.
I wanted to see.
We call it a register's check.
That's just a check. But anyhow, we say thanks to Dr. Birch and Birch Orthodontics, as always.
Stephanie had a really good, she told me to mention this on the show. She just likes to be mentioned on the show, but she did say she had a talk with Heather last week, maybe like a 20-minute talk just about how much Headlines is meant to her and them, the office, the business.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, she was doing pretty well without us. And she's like, she's like, absolutely. But she's overwhelmed. She's been overwhelmed by the support that her partnership with us has brought.
Well, that's cool to hear.
Yeah.
She did chastise me for bringing up the thing about the needles and the gums last
She
week.
doesn't want you to say that anymore?
She said, I don't know why you did that.
Yeah.
And I said, well, it was a joke. I think most people, anybody dumb enough to think that that was real, you don't want as a customer.
Well,
You don't want their money. You don't want their
yeah,
money.
I think dumb people still spend money.
Yeah.
Jeff doesn't want it.
Doesn't want it. Doesn't want to deal with that.
I don't want them in the office.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can know what we're talking about if you go to Birch Orthodontics. They have free consultations. Again, if you have any orthodontic needs, whether it's braces, Invisalign, they have all the different techniques. They also, handle problem cases, challenging cases, and give you a free consultation. They also offer financing, payment plans inside the practice right there. You don't have to deal with your bank or anybody else. Just go ahead and take care of it. And great customer service, great expertise.
I think
she likes us.
She likes us. I like how Ira describes it as challenging cases. I describe it as an alien.
Grotesque.
Yeah. Alien teeth, alien mouth.
A couple of those in our family.
Grotesque deformities.
It's a tough thing. But it came out the other side looking beautiful. You would have never known.
I talk about my daughter's challenging, the way Mike Norvell talks about the opportunities on his football team.
Yeah, that Notre Dame game was a challenge. It was a challenge.
Tough Love Cameron says his child has alien teeth. I like to say that it's a challenging situation.
As somebody who was at that Notre Dame game, I don't know that I'll ever get over that. I hate that they now have that over us.
That's worse than the I was thinking about this too when I was in my anger mode last night or 2 days ago. That was worse than the Orange Bowl. The Orange Bowl, you just didn't have any good players. You had 38 scholarship players. Yeah. You had an excuse to get embarrassed. That you put together that roster that went up there and just did not compete and was embarrassed, and that coaching staff that you
Butch is going to lead the way. Hello, boys. Coach Laux is grinding to get this lineup in a better place. I'm curious if the NIL money he is needing to get these guys on board is coming from the Battles In more or from individual boosters these days. I would think that NIL money would be hard to come by for basketball with the performance of the basketball team in the last 4 seasons. Take care. Well, Butch, he's asking everybody for money. Luke has asked everybody on earth for money, and I am proud of him for it.
And he's not shy about it.
No, he has asked for individuals' monies. He's asked for Battle's End money. He's asked for my money. He's asked for everybody's money.
Terrence Mann's money.
He has asked for Terrence Mann's money.
He told a pretty funny story about that last night.
Did he?
About the whole assistant GM position that Terrence Mann's going to be filling. He said he called him because Steph Curry was doing the same thing with Davidson, and your boy with
Trae
the Hawks,
Young,
Trae Young's doing the same thing with his Oklahoma.
Is it really his alma mater? He only went there for a year. Did you call him that? You have to graduate?
It was a great year.
It was a great year. They got bounced in the first round.
The great Lon Kruger. Yeah. But anyway, he said he called up Terrence Mann and he said, hey, I just, he started talking to him. And he's like, hey, I don't know if you saw what these other guys are doing. And Terrence thought I was calling him for money. He goes, and I was calling him for money.
Yeah.
But I was also
he was right
about
think that.
I was calling him right about that. But it's I don't think it's Battle's End. I think Battle's End's exclusively still football and
pretty
golf,
much football,
right?
Yeah. Yep.
But it's they part of it's going to be there, especially going forward with the House settlement. There will be money that's allocated per sport that can go to sharing revenue with the players. But then also, to your point, he's out raising money nonstop.
Well, and right now it's a free for all. You can get this. We're not under those new rules and guidelines right yet. So this is you got to get the getting's good now. You got to go hit up the big money people, and there are.
But it's also I will give him credit. Luke deserves credit because he's done a lot so far in terms of fundraising
in a short amount of time.
But there are also guys that they literally couldn't get because they're not going to spend what some of these other schools are going to spend right now. Some of these other schools are going to have payrolls of $8 to $10 million or more for basketball.
There were, as of the other day, there were 10 schools that were over 8 million, closer to 10 million already spent on their roster and with intent to spend more. One of them was Creighton. So, like the schools that don't have a football program are pouring it into basketball. The weird byproduct of this is that those basketball schools will be able to compete eye to eye with a North Carolina or a Duke.
Gonzaga should be rolling in it.
Well, you would think, right? I mean, they don't have to worry about anything else.
Yeah.
All they have, that's their one revenue sport.
Yeah.
You pour it in there if you care that much. I mean, well, that's a lot of pressure to go to the tournament with a $15 million roster. You better not get bounced early.
Yeah.
I mean, that's you better run. But I mean, that's what Florida State and other schools are up against who aren't all in on basketball currently. But
Villanova, Providence, schools like that should.
Oh, I think Villanova will spend a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, they went out and stole the coach from Maryland, and I think
seems like a good dude.
Sir Stuart Wallace says, I know it's a margin of nothing kind of scenario, but if Fellini and Arnold did decide to go nuclear red hot for an NCAA tournament run, certainly a dominating pair of starting pitchers can have an unbelievable impact on the postseason. Just throwing it out there, Sausage Kings. Well, yeah, I mean, the recipe with this past weekend, start with the doubleheader. 14 of the 18 innings that were pitched were by your two starting pitchers, your two horses, and they dominated. And I think we've all seen, by the way, that you want to lessen the amount of innings that bullpen has to pitch. So, sure.
Or limit the arm. I mean, when you throw a lot of arms, a couple of them might be good, but the more bullpen guys you throw, the more odds are one of them's not going to be on that day. So the fact that you limited it to one each game, that's a great recipe.
But you could because they ate 14.
That's what I'm saying. That's a great. But both those games, the first game and the third game, those were still very much games in the 8th and 9th inning. They were two-run games. Yeah. So you had to go get important outs from your bullpen, and those guys did it. They threw strikes. They got outs, which was very good to see.
They didn't walk the world for once.
And you definitely. And the thing, in the College World Series format or even a super regional format, if you do have two hosses and they pitch great, that can carry you.
You got to win the first game.
That you do have to win the first game, and then the other part of it is the margin for error. If the offense doesn't get to where it was, certainly where it was last year, but get back to where it was maybe earlier this season consistently, then you don't have as much margin for error. I mean, you can lose a 3-2 game pretty easily.
I'm here now to advocate. It's dumb, and I'm not just saying that because Florida State always gets out there and loses. The way they do it is dumb.
It is. Yeah.
They should. Last year, it should have been a best 2 out of 3 with Florida State and Tennessee. Now, they would have gotten swept. Florida State would have. They lost both games. Well, they might. You check swing. They might, but so much is riding on you winning that first game, which is not how baseball works. You don't have to win the first game of something to have any real shot, but it's like 91% win the first game. So why not just match up 1-8 and play the best 2 out of 3?
Yeah.
And 2-7, best 2 out of 3. Like, that's not that hard to do.
They don't have the money for it is what they'll say. They'll make some excuse. But, I mean, remember, it's better now than it was back in the day. How many times did Florida State get screwed just by losing that first game? And you're in the loser's bracket back then.
Oh, you roll through 5 games.
You're night out reading.
You can get back on schedule here if
you can.
Not really, though. Like, even they won 2 games and got to play Tennessee again, but Jamie Arnold still couldn't pitch.
But I'm saying you
still had to pitch John Abraham.
You were done dealing in the 90s if you lost the first game. There was no, I mean, they had the one time where they were able to fight their way out of that, which is insane. That doesn't happen. I mean, back in the day. Now you can.
Just make it a best 2 out of 3 with these 8 teams.
Yeah, I think they're going to argue about the money and all this and the time spent. I don't understand either. I agree with you. It's not how baseball's played, but that's the way college
make the Super Regionals the first of 4 series you have to win.
Walter's delusional, but I appreciate this level of delusion. He says, something has me giddy all offseason. Every time Norvell speaks and I see his face, all I can see is 13-0.
Okay.
And I get juiced. Now, I don't know what world he lives in, that is his thought process, but okay, cool, man.
I'll give a shout out to our friend Bill, who texted me.
Fredericks, which Bill?
Fredericks.
Okay.
The other day he was texting. He the last 2 times Norvell talked after Thursday and Friday, he pointed out to me how happy he looked.
He seemed.
I was like, on Friday, yeah, man, 100%. Thursday, I sensed a little bit when he pointed out. I was like, yeah, you're right. Friday, man, it was off the charts.
You said he got a response, right?
Yeah, he has not been like that.
Yeah,
I mean, he was almost giddy. So even when he said positive things, and Corey wrote about this the other day, yeah, his words were always like, good work day. I like the, the spirit or whatever. Like, but you could tell it was just words.
Yeah.
Like, man, I thought Friday for sure he felt like, so maybe that's what he's tapping into.
Again, I really believe this whole spring has been about those 2 things: install and a shifting attitude for the players that they're going to keep around.
And that one may be more important than the other ones.
Yeah.
Honestly.
He's got to get these guys to understand. Now, look, it falls on him that ever got to that place, but you can't live in the past. All you can do is move forward. And I like it ought to be an unwavering standard, right? You can't be asking. Tom and I were alarmed one day on the show when we were playing an audio clip that, once again, you guys asked questions and he said something about you have to respect the program. Hey, man, what are we doing out here talking about getting players to respect the program? That is like the most minimum ridiculous ass.
But I think that the fact that he's saying it out loud is a good sign.
I'm not mad that he said it. I wasn't like castigating him into this, but I'm saying like that's a terrible sign that you're having to tell people to your players to respect the program. Shoot, man,
he probably could have and should have said it last spring and didn't. And now he's not hiding. He's not holding his cards close to his chest at all anymore. If he's upset with something, he's going to say it, which we'll see if it matters at all. But it should, because again, it was embarrassing last year, and he completely embarrassed himself and the program last year. And I think he's doing everything he can to make sure that doesn't happen again.
As he should. Justin writes, with this new downhill FSU offense, would rather have a power back like Greg Jones or maybe a James Wilder, or would we rather have a speed back like a Chris Thompson? I think if the line can create space, the speed of a guy like Thompson would be unleashed. I obviously, I think you can use both, by the way. They're going to run a lot between the tackles. I know that.
I'd take Dalvin or Warwick done.
You would, right?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Maybe James Wilder over those 2.
Devontae Freeman was better between the tackles than James Wilder.
Wasn't that something? Yeah. Well, he's a better running back. He was more
running
instinctual.
back, and he was a better between the tackles running back.
By the way, Wilder had a pretty big 4th and 1.
He did. And he had some big moments at Florida State. He wasn't Devontae Freeman.
How in the world they didn't block on 4th and 1 against Virginia Tech? I mean, he
gets
got
hit 3 yards in
the What in the world were you all doing, man?
It was almost. It's crazy that play was even called.
I know.
No, they had run for like minus 20 yards that game. You have a 6'6" quarterback that can move. Get him outside. But James Wilder made it work.
Sure
Rashad Green scoring a touchdown a few moments later. You're yelling "suck it, Clemson" from the press box.
Yeah, it was a very curious call that he got bailed out on there.
Yeah.
It was a horrible call,
but it worked.
In the moment, I went, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" Thank you, James.
By the way,
thank you, James.
This play never gets talked about. Again, going down some rabbit holes. The '93 national championship game. They have a 4th and 1.
Yes.
On that last drive that ends in the field goal. Florida State does. Get in the eye. Just give it to William Floyd up the middle. You have the best quarterback in the world. and Warwick Dunn behind him. You give it to William Floyd, who has to bully his way to get a half a yard, and I'm not sure he actually got it, but they gave him the first down. That's how close that was to being over. The game's over.
You got to give the ball to Lakewood. You go to Lakewood.
Well, that's a good point.
Pride.
Well, that's what Deuce Spann. They did that.
It's my guy, but that whole game plan was asinine.
Crazy.
The entire night,
Crazy.
All we watched was buffoonery. And I'm still mad about it.
Well, no, you won the game. You won the
Still mad about it. You won the game. Mad about
it. Here's the deal, Mike Norvell. You feel like we get piled on a little bit after 2-10.
Yeah.
These guys still rip coaches that won national championships.
Right. Yeah, Hall of Famers, all-timers.
Yes. Yeah.
So you know what you signed
and
up
I'll
for.
tell you something else. Dan Kendra should have started instead of Thad Busby in 96. Well, it's crazy that Thad Busby played as much as he did. And I love you, Thad, but Kendra was a next-level kind of player and didn't ever get a chance.
Great fullback Kendra turned out to be, right?
Yeah, national champion.
DB Noles writes, Lodis is the best FSU shortstop since... ...
I was going to throw a couple names out there, but they don't need to catch straight.
Link Jarrett?
No, I was.
I know what you were going to say, just to piss me off.
I'm trying to think. I mean,
this season is it's better than anything Stephen Drew did.
Well, that's for sure. And Stephen missed a lot of time
but Stephen Drew was really good when he played.
He was great when he played.
Yeah, when he played.
Since I've been covering him, I can't think of anybody that.
Lodis is really, really good. I mean, that's the point being made here. He's really, really, really good. There were a couple of seasons where you had like a singular guy for a year.
Cardullo could hit.
No, there was a guy they had that could really pick it and didn't hit. Man, this is going to drive me nuts. Eric Llewellyn, if you're around, text me.
What era?
It's early 2000s. He was, or maybe 05, 07-ish.
How old are you? Early 2000s? No, you're saying 07.
Well, 05,
they all
07,
run together, don't they?
Yeah.
Because Stephen Drew was like mid 2000s, so it wouldn't have been him. You're probably thinking of
the kid that they brought in the transfer.
Are you thinking of Buster Posey?
No, damn it.
Because he ended up being a catcher. They moved him to catcher after a year.
He actually played every position at one point.
He did, and I was at that game.
I too.
But also, he ended up being a catcher, and
whatever happened to him?
He got drafted high and actually had a pretty decent career in the major leagues.
I remember thinking the Rays should have took him, but they went.
No, they went back Chris Nelson, I think, and that didn't quite work out. And they needed a catcher.
By the way, the Giants are playing pretty good baseball this year.
Yeah, Buster might have put himself together a good roster.
Out of nowhere. What is the name of that damn kid?
It doesn't matter.
Find it.
Bornegal, Rafael Bornegal.
Somebody brought up Alicea.
Yeah, Alicea. Well, he was the second baseman. Okay. Justin Gonzalez?
Chris, no.
That's the guy I was trying to not say.
Well,
come on, Corey.
Well, when he hit home runs, they went far.
I like Dustin.
I did too. Both of you guys, stop it. Stop talking.
Cardullo could hit.
Chris writes, something has been sticking in my craw all offseason. Every time Norvell speaks or I see his face, all I see is 2 and 10.
This is, these two questions are back to back.
So funny.
Well, one's responding to the other quite clearly. And I don't hear anything else that he says. When he starts to talk, I just see 2 and 10.
I'm telling you, the people that walk by the Ford Theater, they don't care that there's a really good play going on in there. All they remember is, our president was killed in there.
I'm going to read.
A lot of people, until you turn this around and actually prove on the field, this isn't something you just wash away, right, Ira? Yeah. You can't. 2 and 10 is such a disaster.
They got to win games.
But both of those are that one's more right than the previous one.
Oh, nobody sees 13 and 0.
Right?
No, nobody but him. Right. Walter is the lone man in this community that sees that.
Well, we love you, Walter.
And I
keep being Walter.
You do that, but man, most people are like Chris.
But Walter probably has a happier life. I can tell you that much.
Do you think there are people in Norvell's family that see 13 and 0?
I'm sure. He gets reminded of it at dinner when he's forlorn. Hey, man, you went 12 and 0 in the regular season. Let it go.
You beat Louisville with Brock Glenn with a third-string quarterback.
Unbelievable.
Walter sees it.
Yeah, I'll send him this one. Hey, Coach, I haven't had a chance to catch up with you lately. We're not at practice if you didn't notice. But here you go. This was a tweet earlier.
This is the overriding sentiment of Florida State fans.
Not some people see.
Oh, Daniel Prentice. Jeff Hallberg. Is that who you're thinking of?
No,
that's what I was thinking you were talking.
That's not who I'm thinking of. But that was a good one. That was a good one, Daniel.
Mark Hallberg. I knew it was Hallberg.
Yeah, it wasn't Hallberg. I'll get it during the break. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Hey, everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansfornoles.com. That is, again, loansfornoles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Noles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansfornoles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansfornoles.com.
Equal housing lender, NMLS 373031.
On the front lines, fighting the insanity of the woke, it's Matt and Brett Oster with America in View.
Matt, Florida has become the world leader for freedom, and I love being in the studio with you every week where we are reinforcing the conservative movement with the Constitution and a little redneck common sense. We're waking the woke.
That's right, Brett. We enjoy talking politics and what's going on in the world. We're bringing our take on the issues, doing our best to fight for freedom.
So tune in every Friday at 4 p.m. on Real Talk 93.3.
Like most of us, your home is your greatest investment. I mean, think about it. The financial benefits, the newfound freedoms of purchasing a home can contribute to your family's health and wealth and happiness. Well, with real estate trends pointing to a market for buyers, this is the time to be sure of what you're buying or selling. And that is exactly why Joel Hagens built ACL Home Inspections, providing you thorough, precise, and efficient service with same-day, easy-to-read digital reports. They'll even go with you on a walkthrough inspection of the home you want to buy. If you're planning to list your house before putting it up for sale, ACL will provide you a pre-listing inspection. Call today, 850-312-8919, 312-8919. Remember, before you buy or sell, call ACL.
222-7722. ACN Electric is what we do. Service, repairs, and installation too. 222-7722.
Is your home ready for anything? At Parker Services AC and Electrical, we do more than just keep you cool. We keep your whole home running smoothly. From AC maintenance and duct cleanings to whole home generator installations, we've got everything you need for comfort and reliability. Join our Peak Performance membership to keep your HVAC system in top shape and catch issues before they turn into costly repairs. And with a reliable generator, you'll never be left in the dark again. Call Parker Services today, where comfort is just a call away. Florida license number CMC 050334 and EC 1301240.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Yeah, you forgot to switch the thing over, but you're right, Daniel. Good job. It was Mark Hallberg.
Right.
When I said no, I felt bad, and then we went to break, and then I called Eric, and then I thought about it more, and then he said, yeah, man, it's Mark Hallberg. Damn, Daniel, you did get it. I didn't give you enough credit.
Good work, Daniel.
Good job, Daniel.
He took over shortstop for Buster Posey because they moved him to catcher.
Hey, can I share one more thing? Like another.
Yeah, you're a sharing fool.
I am a lot of sharing. This is a different tone, but so when Alexa played basketball at Cobb in middle school, her coach was Coach Norris. Coach Healy Norris was really cool. And we've stayed in contact. She's a big FSU fan. She and her husband, Brian Norris, are big FSU fans. They both went to Childs. Anyway, they're all in coaching. Keely coached girls basketball. Brian coaches football. His dad, Brent Norris coached football for a long time. He also played at FSU in the early 70s.
Wow.
And so if you go to nolefan.org, our resource,
yeah,
you can see Brent Norris, who played running. I think he was a running back in the early 70s for Florida State. He passed away last week. And Keely just sent me a note asking if there's a way we could kind of just give them a shout out.
Absolutely.
Because, as coaches, and we've all coached at different levels, youth sports, things like that, or had kids that played sports, and just the impact of coaches. And so Brian wrote the obituary for their dad, for Brent, and basically it was all the things he did in his life, but it was always a football coach. Like that's what he was as a football coach. So anyway, she just wanted to pay respects to him because he's a huge FSU fan. He obviously played for FSU, and their family's all Noles. And Brent and Brian started listening to the JCS back in the day when he was playing for the Timberlane Raiders.
Yeah, there you go, buddy.
All right. So there was a kinship with you and in the program anyway. So we just want to give a shout out to Brian, to Keely, to the family.
Absolutely.
And
I think you're right. By the way, coaches, what a cool life he had. I'll just put it that way.
Apparently coached high school all around.
Coaching is an awesome and rewarding endeavor. A lot of long hours, but very rewarding. If you got to do it your whole life and you loved it like that, that's really cool.
And he was the original Coach Norris, but now they are both Coach Norris's. Brian coaches football up in the D.C. area, and Keely has coached basketball for a long time.
Oh, all right.
Shout out to them.
The dad guy writes, which sounds better, 4.5 months until football or 137 days? 137 days.
Does.
Yeah, you're almost into double digits.
It's practically
you're a month away.
Season.
Yeah, it's basically starting tomorrow. Alabama's tomorrow.
What are we doing? I mentioned it last week. You saw that the other line came out. It's 11.5.
Yeah.
In some places now. We went from like 7.5 to 9 to 11.5.
That, to me,
that's a big number.
And you guys know my history when it comes to betting on Florida State. I don't do it.
You bet against them.
That's how I lost a lot of money there for a while, and then I made some of it back last year. But that seems like a huge number to me. At Doak, having no idea what Florida State is, and having no idea what Alabama is.
Team is,
and it's not Nick Saban coaching that group. So, like, if it was Nick Saban over there, yes, 11.5, absolutely. That just seems like a lot of money.
I would imagine
a lot of points.
Has Vegas caught up? So, like, going back a year ago, like, when did Vegas catch up to Arizona State not being the 2-10 Arizona
the awful
State
team? Yeah.
I wonder how quickly
took them a while with the Noles too.
Vegas is figuring it out with teams.
The Noles were favored for 4 weeks.
You are going to see these drastic switches from year to year, even no matter how many. It's
11.5 because it's not anywhere close to the same team. It's not the same offense. It's not the same quarterback. It's not any of the same people really at anywhere that matters. So to be 11, like last year playing Alabama, they would have been a 30-point underdog, I would think, at the end of the year.
Oh, at the end of the year.
At the beginning of the year, it would have been a push 'em. Right. It would have been a pick 'em probably at the beginning of the year.
I was just saying, Corey, I don't know if you know the gambling lingo. There are no push-ems.
I was saying push. I was saying push, but that doesn't work either.
Push and pick 'em.
Yeah, and I've said a push 'em. There should be a push 'em.
Yeah. Have you seen the line lately? It's a push 'em.
It's a push 'em. Everybody get your money. You get your money back. Don't even worry about betting.
It's a push 'em.
So yeah, I don't think they've caught up with that. Not at the beginning of the season. How could they?
I think they're having a really hard time. And if you listen to professional gamblers, people who bet for a living at all times do so, they get their bets in early. When these lines first come out, they'll talk about how radically they think how something off is. They'll say, oh my God, they're way off. They're 10 points off this game, or they're 7 points off this game. And these guys fly to Vegas or fly from their respective states to place these bets. But a lot of them that I've heard in interviews say, like, they don't know. It's so hard right now because you still have a spring transfer window. So we don't even know. Yeah. Like, I can't place a bet if I don't know. Like, what if Florida State tomorrow, I'm not saying they're going to, and they shouldn't, but what if they brought in Nico in the running back? Like, all of a sudden they brought in those two guys. I mean, that would probably change the line significantly. I'm not saying it'd be a great thing to do, but these kinds of things are happening in the game at all times, and you have those.
What if Florida State went and got Ryan Williams?
Well, that would be nice. I'd love for them to take from Alabama and add to Florida State's roster.
I think that changes way. Literally, if that happens on April 17th, Ryan Williams commits to Florida State to play wide receiver. What does the line go to?
It drops from 11.5, Corey.
Is Florida State favored?
7.
You think it only goes down 4 points?
Yeah.
It's one player.
I know, but it's like.
And also, we're running a system that doesn't exactly highlight a receiver.
They would highlight that guy.
Well, you'd think.
They would highlight that guy. They highlighted Sammy Coates back in the day. Did that name ring a bell? Anyone?
I think
it'd go down for. I don't know who's Alabama's quarterback.
It's a kid that hasn't played much.
First-time starter.
Yeah, first-time starter. I have a question for you. If the game was tomorrow, would you lay the 11.5?
No, I would.
You'd take Florida State.
I'd take Florida
Earnestly,
State.
you would take Florida
100%.
State.
Yeah.
Ira?
I mean, I can't. It's hard to even wrap my mind around because
It is hard. It is hard. We don't know. Yeah.
I mean, I would definitely not bet on Alabama to cover 11.5.
I would stay away from a first game. Hey, we don't know what any of these things
I wouldn't
are.
bet the game either. It's
You
just
gonna come into Doak?
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about this. I get pissed off. The fact that it's 11.5 infuriates me, not at Vegas, but we're in a position where you could just be slapped across the face like that, where they're like, well, who cares? Doak Campbell doesn't mean anything. Program sucks ass. We'll make it 11.5.
But do they understand that there's going to be a porch there now?
Apparently, they haven't been watching the interviews.
Yeah, they don't.
with Walter.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Walter's bumped about the porch. All right, gents, Atkins is not here anymore, so you all can be honest. How did they determine who his guys were and what were the other guys doing during practice? Were they just eating grass, catching butterflies? What were they doing?
They were all practicing.
That was from Trailer Swift.
And he coached them hard. Like, he didn't coach. It wasn't like when Armella or Early or another backup came in, he'd stop paying attention and go, shoot the bull with Maurice Smith. Like, he coached all them too. He just never let them play. He either didn't develop where they were good enough to play, didn't trust them. I think it was more about, man, these guys were here in 2020 taking all those lumps with us. Had to go through that nonsense. Then they had to go through Jacksonville State. All these guys were on that field. I am not in their final year of college football going to replace them with these other guys. They've earned the right to start, which was a huge miscalculation.
But then the reality is they may not have had anybody else because obviously the recruiting was a disaster.
Right.
I mean, like, Jalen Early went in the portal yesterday, or it's publicly that he's going in the portal.
Intends to tomorrow.
Like, I was texting a buddy of mine. I said, well, maybe he'll go to LSU where Atkins cannot play him there either. Because he really, he's talked about playing that kid for 2 years.
They never played him.
Very rarely.
No, it does highlight a failure in recruiting, period. I mean, you can go back a ways. It's been a minute since Florida State. You've had seasons where the offensive line was good enough that you could win games in this conference, but it has been a long time since they were the reason you won some games in this conference or anywhere else. And that is
2014.
Yeah, it's
Literally.
infinitely frustrating to sit back and think about how long we've waited on an offensive line to just be somewhat adequate to slightly above adequate. And it's really a travesty. It can't happen. It can't.
Maybe 22. 22's line was it overwhelmed some teams, especially there in October and November, or after the 3-game losing streak, like Syracuse, Miami, Georgia Tech. They just pushed those dudes out of the way. That was an offensive line that won games, but it was a short sample size, and it was like 4 games.
Yeah, and it wasn't like you were playing Murderers Row in that stretch.
Correct.
I don't know.
But they beat Miami by completing 9 passes.
It was a
they
lot,
beat
but
Syracuse
it was a lot of counter with Dylan Gibbons clearing the way. Like, for whatever reason, Dylan Gibbons.
God bless Dylan Gibbons.
Became like this.
He should go back and win the Outland. They should give him the Outland.
He really was good though.
I know,
well.
But he couldn't get on the field in Notre Dame. But he comes here and also, he literally was the guy that they ran by.
Shows you how sorry our recruiting's been. The guy couldn't even start at a place like Notre Dame. Comes here, he's the very best you have, and it's not close.
Yeah.
It pisses me off. I get angry every time I think about it. All Noles writes, if you have time, can you explain the roster limits kerfuffle? First of all, I like the word kerfuffle.
Yeah, not used enough.
How do limits matter if schools don't have to fill them? Why even have limits? Let schools carry all that they want or all that they can afford anyhow.
Yeah, the reason they did have limits was because you wanted to make it so that other schools could, compete also. Like, so, it's just
back in the day, Alabama would have 200 people on their side.
Yeah, exactly. So that's
and
part of the reason.
Bottom 100 were still pretty darn good.
And also make it competitive for the teams that couldn't afford, so like baseball, the smaller schools would say, well, if you give the Florida States of the world 30 scholarships, well, how are we ever going to compete? We can't fund baseball to that level. So there was a lot of that. And that was really a complaint from a lot of major Power 5 type schools for a long time, was that they felt like the smaller schools were making the rules that affected the bigger schools, and all the everything was determined by those smaller schools and what they needed.
Yeah.
So that's why there's been this push to get the Power 4, Power 5 out of it and the autonomous and all that. But as far as like the limits, it's, so right now you can have 85 scholarship players. If the House settlement goes through, The limit would be like 105,
105,
but no more walk-ons. Like everybody would be on scholarship at that point, which is actually less than you have with walk-ons. So it's weird. I mean, there's some give and take. There's more players on scholarship, but maybe smaller roster limits overall. So it's and every sport's different. You know, some of these sports now, baseball would have a lot more scholarships.
Yes,
softball would have a lot more.
So
scholarships.
Georgia State is going to have 105 scholarship football players
They probably won't if they want to.
but they could.
They
yeah,
could.
but I guess that's the point. Is they
And
probably
so
stay where they are.
in the past, they would Georgia States of the world would have said you can't give them 105 at Florida State because we're not going to pay for 105.
Right.
So you need to bring it down. And now they're
I'd be like, yeah, who cares?
Now they say, "Welcome in, Steve. Your NIL is a ham sandwich."
Yeah, a good one though.
You're
a
here.
good one.
You're here. Yeah, have fun with it. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Your local news now.
One man is hospitalized but expected to survive after a shootout Friday afternoon near College Town. The shootout happened at about 3:50 p.m. on West Virginia Street. A video circulating on social media shows a man in a black tank top shooting at another person who attempts to shield themselves from the gunfire behind a car. In the video, it appears the man returns fire as a woman nearby flees the scene. The video says the incident took place near the Standard, an apartment complex near Florida State University oriented toward students. Police say there are no suspects in custody at this time, and there is no concern for public safety. A Tallahassee man is charged with 101 felonies after the Leon County Sheriff's Office raided his home. 27-year-old Austin Coates is accused of dozens of crimes involving child sexual materials. He was arrested and booked into the Leon County Detention Facility. This is Rachel and A with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. High temperatures reach up to 84 this afternoon under mainly cloudy skies, winds out of the northwest, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Tonight, lows dip down to about 50. Bright sunshine expected tomorrow, highs level off around 77. Sunny skies and dry Thursday and Friday with highs in the low 80s. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently, it's 80 degrees.
Hey, let me tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the battle's end. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
I cut the guy off. I was tired of hearing him talk.
Yeah.
So the ACC network can have a cross coverage at Virginia Tech, but not baseball games?
That was a weird decision.
What? I don't understand.
So I guess they had so many events going on campus that, because these ESPN 3, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
ESPN 3, remember that?
Plus, ESPN Plus.
Yeah, whatever it is now. The way it works on these college campuses, part of the ACC network is they use like the students they do a lot of the camera work. They do all the grunt work. And because they had so many events going on campus, they decided they didn't have enough people to staff the baseball game. So they had to do lacrosse, I guess.
They had to.
I guess.
It was a top 25 college baseball matchup.
Yeah.
and they did.
What was the ranking of those lacrosse teams?
Well, that's a fair point. It said they're ACC, so probably 1 and 2. It might have been the game of the century in lacrosse. But yeah, and even the game they had on Sunday was the radio feed. Yeah. It wasn't a real announcement. And that it's been kind of a charade that ESPN pulled on all these schools, saying, "Oh, we're going to give you this great deal. All your games are going to be broadcast.
You have to do all the work.
You got to do all the work. The announcers aren't going to be very good, typically, especially on the roads." But that's what I was getting to. FSU has gotten really lucky. Like Alex Powers for softball, and she also does some baseball, and I can't remember the guy's name that does most of the softball, but he's very good. They are really good. And Ari is good with Chavez in baseball. Like Florida State fans are lucky that they get professional broadcast, but all these other ones, like God, the Notre Dame one was ridiculous.
Well, I actually felt bad.
The Florida one,
clearly lose a student. He was just up in the booth freezing his ass off. He actually, him and that guy, that as bad as they were because they didn't have the chops. They gave Florida State all the credit in the world. They were very, very. I mean, a lot of times you won't get that at all.
And because I'm me, I also watched the Florida State Cal softball game.
Did you really?
Some of it. They had one camera angle. It was the center field camera. That's it. And when a ball was hit, if it went over the fence to left field, couldn't see it. The center field camera would move, and you just saw the left fielder turn up and look. Literally, that was the vantage point the whole game. And they also didn't go to commercials.
I do like finding out what other stadiums play. Like, you get to watch these broadcasts, and a lot of them don't even go to commercials, so you just listen to the sounds of the stadium ambiance, and I'm always cracking up. Like, I watch – because East Tennessee State's good this year, so I'll watch my boys from ETSU.
You're not watching ETSU baseball.
I watched them beat Tennessee in Knoxville. They can suck it.
Well,
anyhow, that was
crazy if Tennessee was in
by the way,
Johnson City.
Johnson City. Buddy.
Sorry.
You got to insult the Tri-County.
That's not bad.
Bristol.
You got the shirt on, the hat on today.
Bristol and Kingsport.
He's on bandwagon. Jump back on the bandwagon because they beat Tennessee.
They beat Tennessee a month ago, but they were the first team to beat Tennessee. Anyhow, that said, I was listening to that broadcast because I want to see how they did it in Knoxville, and then I go place to place and I laugh. I mean, it's great, you know.
Yeah, Florida State's good. Florida State's good production for the most part, but some of these schools, you get what if you want to watch Ferris State versus Long Island, you're going to see some stuff you can't believe you're seeing.
David writes, how is it that the NCAA can't restrict multi-transfers, but the SEC can ban same-year transfers within the conference? Well, the reason, so I brought this up yesterday.
Because they voted on it, right?
Yeah, Nico can't transfer to an SEC school without sitting out because he did it in the spring window. If he had done it in the fall, he could transfer to an SEC school.
Why is that even a rule at all?
Because the SEC decided to make it.
The SEC decided on it, which would be cool if other conferences, or just there was somebody above that made it all illegal.
Jerry writes, it does suck, but the answer to your question, David, is who the hell knows, man? There are no freaking rules anymore. Jerry writes, good afternoon, gentlemen. If you take away Squirrel White and Deuce, do we have enough juice in the receiver room?
No.
No, we wouldn't.
That's why they went and got them.
That's why they're here.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, he wanted to know if they would go out and get another receiver in the portal because of that.
Oh, I don't know, man. I mean, I think that, and we don't know for sure. We don't know what the coaches are thinking. The hope of this spring was that a number 3 and number 4 would really emerge, whether it's Hakeem Williams, Javon Boggs is getting talked about a lot.
Yeah. Lawayne McCoy,
who's banged up.
Lawayne McCoy would have been my guess going into the season. He still might be, but he's been banged up, so you don't know what you have. Elijah Moore could be a guy.
They like Elijah Moore. You need him to keep taking steps forward and figure out what we're doing.
Yeah. So now if they came out of the spring feeling like they do not have a 3 or a 4, then maybe you do. But I think the plan was to identify that.
I just know that whoever they get, they're going to get a kid who's been a bona fide.
Yeah.
Who's done it. He has 15, at least, 25 receptions.
Yeah. They're not going to. Jalen Brown had 0 catches. Malik Benson had 10.
We're not doing all that nonsense again. Gator Kirk writes, good afternoon, men. Will NIL ever become true NIL, or it will be this version for the foreseeable future? Yeah, I get what he's saying. I mean, people aren't actually paid for their name, image, likeness currently. That's just what it's.
The hope of the House settlement is to go to that.
We'll see.
Because the revenue sharing is where most of the money will come from. The TV money now will go to the athletes. But then if there's other deals, they're supposed to be true NIL deals.
Yeah.
Whether or not you believe that's what's going to happen is up to you.
Yeah, many people believe that there'll be bevy of lawsuits if they try to enforce that.
I'll be honest, I didn't see DJU on my TV at all last year. Hawking cars.
No, he did. He had some Circle K commercials on Twitter.
And
That's why I didn't see him.
And he handed out beats.
He literally did Circle K. Oh
Yeah.
my god,
Polar Pops.
But that's why we should have known then.
You should.
Holy cow! Maybe Tommy will be at Wawa. He'll be at Wawa doing something for the community.
Well, these kids are in to have their feelings hurt if
he
we
did
ever
the
get a true.
the beats also. He had the beats.
That's what I said.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's a real one. That was like a national one. Right?
Yeah. I did. I do think these kids will get their feelings hurt if we ever have a true NIL. I'm gonna give you $100 to come out to the car lot this weekend, buddy. That's what you're gonna get.
You come to the golf tournament. We'll let you hit a few holes. You get $50.
$75 just a free beer. You're welcome, buddy. Yeah, I mean that's gonna be a toughie. Sean writes, the recipe is very clear with the baseball team. Starters try to get us through 7. Just get a few relievers to clean up a couple of innings. My question is, how do you fix so many players? He wants to know how you fix so many players left on base. Look, that's largely the recipe is luck, Sean. The problem you have is when you don't have runners in scoring position that you aren't driving home.
Yeah.
You just want to continue to put people in scoring position eventually.
Because they were terrible this weekend and they swept them.
Yeah,
it
happens.
They went 1 of 11, one game, 0 for 8 on Sunday. But what they did do on Sunday is they Chase Williams had a sac fly, RBI with the bases loaded after Cal Fisher struck out. It was a bad at bat. You got to put the ball in play. I thought they did do a better job of putting the ball in play. And putting the ball in play. Like Lodis grounded out to the pitcher, worked like a bunt. That ended up helping score a run with a sac fly. Chase Williams scored on a sac fly from
the Lamalier. Small ball that way. Yeah, you can give away outs if you like.
Well, and that I was just going to say, I agree with Corey. It's some of what you said. There is some luck. Again, the Orioles last year set a baseball record for fewest double plays, fewest hit into double plays in a season, in a 162 game season. This year, they hit into 4 double plays every game, and it's just insane. So
sometimes it's luck. Yeah.
It's completely luck.
But no, I was going to say not completely though, because I do feel like there are times you can take a smart. If there's a runner at third
approach
and 1 out, you can hit a fly ball or hit a ground ball to the right
just
side.
a ground ball.
Yeah.
Just a ground ball. Depending on when it's the game.
We agree on a standard approach to moving runners over or hit the ball to the right side when you have a runner at second base. Obviously, put the ball in play if there's a runner at third. I get all that. But outside of your standard approach when there are runners in scoring position, the rest of it is luck. I mean, if I square it up and hit it 114 miles per hour and it goes right at the shortstop, well, then F me. I mean, I didn't do
Or if your last at bat, you hit a ball 75 miles an hour, but it blooped over the second baseman's head for a hit. I mean, that's
and they cleared
baseball.
the bases because there were 2 outs and everybody was running. I mean,
Speaking of, I want to get y'all's advice on something real quick. So Brady plays in a high school baseball on a team with a legitimate phenom. Like this kid
that's cool to see.
This kid is 15. He hasn't turned 16 yet. He's the best pitcher in Gwinnett County. He's a sophomore. And I was talking to his dad, and his dad said he hadn't heard from Florida State yet. He's heard from everybody else in the South, including like Tennessee, Georgia.
I like what he's doing on the show right here.
What is it? Should I tell Link about the kid?
You just did. Link's watching right now.
Hey, Micah.
But I didn't say the name. I don't know if I should say the name, but you could
figure it out.
It's a Gwinnett County school. The kid's a sophomore.
He's really good.
His first name's Andrew, but he's awesome. He's incredible. Like he's very, very good, and he's a high level D1 player. I wonder in baseball if it matters if you get on him early. Like, because he's still 15, but he's a sophomore.
Baseball kids commit really early.
Yeah, so I was wondering, like, Link needs to get up on it now, and I don't know if it's above my purview.
Hey, buddy, you're gonna be over there.
I was gonna say I'll be over there today. Do I tell Link, man? Shoot, I got the kid's number. I got the kid's number.
What you're doing,
and Brady can be his hype man.
What a service!
Right. Brady can be a bullpen catcher. They're obviously a package deal. We know that.
That's where now we're getting.
Brady deserves something too.
Oh, for sure.
But I just say it. I don't know if
what would that kid be without Brady?
It would nowhere. Yeah. I don't know if it's ethical for me to bring him up to Link, but I'm gonna bring him up to Link. Like kid's awesome.
You'll see Micah.
Yeah, I'll tell him too. He's more than a pitcher too. He's also their best hitter. He's incredible. He's a great player. So he needs to be in Tallahassee. Is all I'm saying. Or the Braves.
Nathaniel writes, do you guys sense that Mike may finally be calming down a little bit as he comes to grips with how and with whom he's going to have to steer this team? Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, Nathaniel. He goes on to say, he was really worrying me with this melancholy, seemingly shaken demeanor for much of spring camp. But the last few days, he does seem more like his old self. Everyone, go buy a lot of delicious register sausage. Go take all your kids with jacked up teeth to Heather Birch.
Even if they're not all that jacked up, they don't have to be completely jacked up to get there.
Listen, I do think that there was a real modus operandi here. He wants to get these guys to buy into the intensity that he desires, and I don't think they were early in camp. I don't think they were. I think it pissed him off, and that might explain the forlorn sort of, damn it, man.
And the thing you don't I think sometimes we hear this. Well, people make comments like, "Oh, I didn't give my best effort," or whatever it is, and people are like, "How is that even possible?" But you don't realize that sometimes guys are playing hard. They think they're giving it all, but they're not. Like they feel like they are.
Yeah.
But they're not. And so you, as a coach, you've got to help them get to that next level. And that's what they're trying to do.
And most people kind of go kicking and screaming to that next level because it hurts.
Sure.
It's hard, man. It sucks. I'm glad they didn't have all these tracking devices back in my day. That would have sucked. We reveled.
Yeah, what were you doing on this 10-minute stretch, Jeff Cameron?
I was taking a few plays off there. It's hot as balls out here.
The ball is being run in the other direction.
It's 100 degrees out here. I took a play
and
off.
You keep giving me salt tablets?
I would have been busted, and every other football player would have been busted because practice is hard. And it's not all that rewarding. so yeah, that's tough. I get that part of it. Marlon writes, "Good day, gents and spicy Ira." I like that. Spicy Ira. 2 for 1. Is this offense really going to rely on a true freshman running back that hasn't even stepped on campus yet? And then he says,
maybe.
How did we get to this yet? Love the show always.
Did see the clips FSU put out and some of the things we heard about the goal line scrimmage the other day was that Norvell said it also that Roydell looked good. I thought the run that they have on their clip that they put out looked like a real tough physical run, like broke through a tackle to get into the end zone. And I've heard he's had a good spring when he's been out there. So, I think they've got guys, but in terms of a special guy, I don't think we think any of these guys right now appear to be special backs, and Cromwell could be one. So
yeah,
if you're saying that's what we're relying on, I guess.
But also relying is maybe not the right word because again, the quarterback run is going to be a big part of the offense.
Running back.
Yeah, they could just be okay. They're going to be probably, unless he's one of these superstars right out of the gate, they're going to be pretty pedestrian at running back. But Gus has had some pretty pedestrian running backs, and they always end up putting up a lot of yards. So I think you're more relying on the system itself. And Roydell can be a fine college running back in the right system. He is not a game breaker, but he can get you 100 yards on 21 carries.
Right. Let's rapid fire a couple here before we say goodbye. Lee writes, saw the news that Max Crosby is taking on the role of assistant GM at Eastern Michigan. I feel like Jameis is the obvious choice, but is there any active players you would like to see take on a similar role at FSU? Active players in the NFL to take on that role. Well, I would prefer Jameis over, say, Jalen Ramsey.
Derwin James, maybe.
Derwin?
Yeah.
Okay.
Verse.
Jared Verse is a good one.
He's too recent, I think. There's got to be a little distance, I think. Yeah, I think Derwin might be my choice.
By the way, a week from Thursday is the draft, guys.
Yeah.
Partying at CP for the draft opening night.
Big.
Everybody come on out. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
It'll be a good time.
Does Bill know?
He does now.
Okay, good. Good. Bill, it's coming. Get ready.
He got texted the other day.
Draft party.
I will tell you that I did a little exercise of going through each team's last 5 first-round picks in the NFL. If you do that little exercise, you will be floored at how bad some teams are in drafting in the first round. I mean, there are teams that have had 5 straight years where they drafted somebody who sucks ass, like not any good at all, out of the league in a year.
Wow.
And then there are some where you're like, my God, they haven't whiffed in 5 years. They've all been A+ picks. It's a really fun exercise. Last one, Corey writes, hello, gents. Do you think the NFL will suffer due to the college process of transfers and NIL? Do you feel they will try to throw some weight around and get involved in that issue? I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No.
I think they're very happy to be as distant from college football as they can.
Well, they
don't have to subsidize
system,
it.
Yeah, at some point.
Yeah, they got a minor league system. They don't have to pay a penny for. It's perfect.
Will it affect them? I don't think so. I think the quality of football, I think, is getting worse. There were teams in that playoff last year that I did not think were great football teams by any stretch. So I do think the quality is getting thinned a little bit.
But is the question about
like affects them at the NFL?
Will the NFL judge a player because he bounces from school to school? Absolutely not. Just
not
because
if he can play.
If he can play, he can play. Like I remember when Dalvin did not sit out the Orange Bowl, but Fournette and McCaffrey did, and I'm like, well, that doesn't that speak volumes about who Dalvin Cook is? And he was drafted behind both of them. Ended up having, well, he's not as good as McCaffrey, but he was better than Fournette. He had a really good NFL career, but so did McCaffrey, and he sat out his bowl game. So they don't care. They're going to go on the talent.
Can you play? That's all they really want to know. Say goodbye, gentlemen. Good show today.
Enjoyed it. Thanks,
Great
Jeff.
show.
Yeah, it was
Great.
good.
Thanks for showing up, Ira.
There we
Appreciate
go.
it.
For Corey and Ira, I'm Jeff. Don't forget the bonus hour is forthcoming. It will be up next, and it's a fun one, so stay tuned for that. Until tomorrow, everybody, peace.